adoption of your product.
Today, internet and mobile probably is the best university that I've ever had. You can communicate with all of the world. So I think the ideas you've got are fantastic. The only thing is that as an entrepreneur, that never build up a good team and set the big vision, but milestones and go on, never give up. You might have a lot of problems, right? But you can see the problem you're facing, your competitor will face it too.
Yeah.
And you think you have a lot of tough days, but your competitor may have a much easier. You never know, right? So you say that the competition within you is not is the speed of solving the problems.
For us, our story is very similar, like everybody else. We found a space on the other side. We found that entrepreneurs were working in isolation. Everybody was working from their home or from a coffee shop. And we needed to bring them together because of my business experience. I, like Cargo, dropped out of university second year. Long story, we couldn't afford it because I needed to pay for my siblings' school fees. And I had done a lot of manual labor before that. So I started my first company, I failed. Started my second one, I failed. And then my third company started working, which was buying domain names from Bulgaria, buying them at about $35 and selling them at $150 in Kenya. The reason there was a business opportunity was because people didn't have credit cards, and this was the only company that accepted Western Union. So I'd ask, you want a domain name? I'll sell you a domain name. I'll come and I'll get the domain name for $35, sell it $150 and support it for a year. And then I was lucky enough to meet Anna, who is right over here. And she invested 50,000 euros for an incubation hub. Yes, so that was the beginning. Yeah. So Anna invested 50,000 euros for an incubation hub, and we agreed that we'll bring all the young entrepreneurs we can, so we share a lot of knowledge and skills and talent. Dr. Mukisa Kitui, these are the young entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, last year, September, with the support of the sisters of some of the most powerful people in the world, I managed to get Jack Ma to be a special envoy of UNCTAD for youth and small business. In that act, he becomes the most expensive employee I have ever had, with the status of an Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations. One of the main things that made me look for Jack, and I shared with him over 2 years of things at Davos, at the World Economic Forum, is not the is partly the story he has to tell. The tenacity of saying falling is ordinary, rising after a fall is what takes genius, is what takes guts. And that in the reality of the marketplace is most small businesses have high mortality rates. Very many businesses fail, but how would you keep trying again after it has failed? That narrative, I thought, needed to be told to the world. But there was a second thing. Some of you have just listened to me in the other room mention. By the end of 2015, global electronic commerce reached 25 trillion US dollars. That's roughly close to the combined wealth of the top 100 enterprises in the world. As I bring Jack Ma on his first ever trip to Africa, actually originally we were supposed to have the entire trip in Nairobi, but because of Kenya's ability to suspend economics when it's going to an election, I said, okay, we'll have this trip to Rwanda, but on our way there we must stop in Kenya. And I'm glad that we created this possibility. And our stop to Kenya for me was first and foremost to give Jack a chance to talk to this audience, and to give this audience a chance to interrogate Jack.
First, let's tell us your story. Just the first 3 years. We've watched the YouTube videos. We love them. We're inspired by them. Just the first 3 years. How did you do this? How did you do this? We want to hear it firsthand, don't we? Yeah. Yes, I think that's a very good place to start.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. This is my first morning in Africa, and I'm expecting this day for a long, long time. Well, this is the best gift I've ever got from Dr. Kitui, that this morning talking to you guys. reminds me of my early days. And I see from your eyes, from your heart, what you tell, it's the passion, the inspirations, the dream that you have. I remember 1995 when I came back from the States. I visited the USA for 29 days, and I discovered the internet. So I came back to China and said, I want to do something called internet. But there is no such word called internet before, and there's no such word called internet on the dictionary. So the government does not let me to register a company called internet. Since I had no background on technology, know nothing about computer, even to today, I know very little about computers. Because I don't think you have to know anything before you do it. The great thing I see from your eyes that I know you don't have a lot of know-how. And those people have a lot of know-how don't want to do it. The entrepreneurs, you start with a dream. You start with a belief. And you also have to start with a group of people, believe the dream. So I came back to China and I said I want to do something called internet. China was not even connected to the internet in 1994. So it was very difficult to convince people there's something called internet. That was tough. People say you're telling a lie. But I know this thing exists, and I know it takes time to convince people. By convincing people, it's not convincing people by words. You have to convince people by results. I made a lot of speech in the early days, and even now I still talking to a lot of people. I came here today here not to selling China products, because you have got enough Chinese products. Right? I came here to share with you the entrepreneur spirit and the dreams. This is what I learned from the other part of the world. I learned from the American dreams. I learned from many other startups in the whole world that the dream, how they do it. I think the very important is that making sure your dream can be realized, making sure your dream makes steps by step every week, every month. And making sure that your employees believe it, making sure your customers are happy. Because if your customer happy, your employees are happy, the shareholder will be happy. Do not try to spend a lot of time with your shareholders. Spend enough time with your customers. Spend enough time with your employees. And even do not spend a lot of time with competitors, because we are all so early stage. The best way to compete, to fight against your competitor is your customers, is your colleagues. So it was early days was tough. I was the number 7 guy in China connected to the internet. The speed was so slow. You would never imagine, because in order to prove that I was not the thief, telling people telling lies. So I invited the TV friends. I've got some university schoolmates. They work in the TV station. So I invite them to come to my room and say, with a camera, and I want to tell there is something called internet. It took us 3.5 hours to download the first front page of my website. But at least to prove there's internet there. Yesterday when I arrived in Nairobi, the speed of internet, was so fast. It's so fast. You guys are lucky. Because it was so much better than the days when I started. And I think with such a great infrastructure of the internet you have, with so many people in the world today know about the internet. There today about more than 1.7 billion people are already online. But at that time, total China, less than like 500 people using internet. It's difficult. But as I said just now in the other room, everybody, when you have a dream, you have to dream globally, but you have to win locally. You have to survive today, but you also have to think about the future. If you do not think about the future, if you do not have a vision for 10 years later, what will you be? You will never have a great people follow you and join your company. But if you cannot survive, you go nowhere. Right? No matter how big dream is, it is telling a lie. So the thing I proved when I started my business, I failed for 1995,
I started the first internet company. Did not work out, so I joined the government for working for 13 months as a part-time contractor. Did not work out. So in 1999, I started my Alibaba.com in my apartment. And I know I may not succeed, but I told my 18 founders that first, even if we fail, some people will win. Internet is the future. E-commerce is the future. No matter you like it or not, 80% or 90% of business in the next 30 years will be online. And no matter what, the best way to serve the world is the internet. So I know that if I cannot make it, somebody will make it. So I continue to make it. And then the second thing I tried to prove is that if Jack Ma can be succeed, 80% of the young people can be successful. We don't have money. We don't have a relationship. I don't have a powerful, rich father, even though we don't have a rich father or uncle that can sponsor us. Everything we do is the 18 founders. We believe the future, we make progress. Even among the 18 founders, we only have 3 engineers. Among the 3 engineers, only one of them had a 3 years experience at university, study computer. The other 2, they are like amateur computer. When they open it, they don't know how to fix it. Start from there to today, we have 25,000 engineers in our company. And nobody come to buy and sell. For the first 2 weeks, terrible. We built an e-commerce company, nobody come to sell. So we have to list our own products on there, waited for 2 weeks, nobody come to buy. So we have to buy ourselves. And then the first month, some people come to sell things on our site, we buy everything. So we buy a whole house of rubbish for the whole month. We started, nobody believed e-commerce. Until today, or last year, we sold $550 billion US dollars. From nothing to $550 billion. And I think compared to yesterday was big sales, but compared to 10 years later, we are nothing. But this is what I want to say, the great ideas I heard in the next room inspired me and changed my, you are guys are the hope of Africa. And I believe 15 years ago, 18 years in my apartment, I told my team, we are the hope of China. Because we are the guys without any resources. If we can make it, most people can make it. If most people like us, without money, without resources, only with the dream and belief, if we can make succeed, China will be successful. You guys are the hope of Africa. Because what I see, I did not see you guys a lot of money. Because a great entrepreneurs should not have money. If you have money in your mind, this is US dollars, this is RMB, and you're talking like English pounds. Nobody will work with like. If you have a good dream, if you have a plan to making progress, things will happen. And I changed my mind this morning. Just a half an hour there, I would do more things in Africa. And the only thing I want to do is not to sell products here. And I will enable you to sell your dreams all over the world in Africa. Supporting entrepreneurs is always my dream, because I know how tough it is to be an entrepreneur. It is difficult. I never cry. I said, I only make my competitors cry. Because if I cry, I'll probably die 100 times. Because we have to encourage our team, and I say, making sure that we can survive tomorrow. As I said, before I answer a question, I want to say this is my belief. And this is what I tell every day to myself. Today is difficult. Tomorrow is much more difficult. But the day of tomorrow is beautiful. Most people die tomorrow evening. Even today, as my size, for our company's size, I still believe today is very difficult. I have more problems than anybody here can imagine. You say, now you are big. You make billions of dollars every quarter, I have much more problems than you have. Much more headache than you have. When I was young, 18 years ago, I thought, what if I can make my company bigger? Then I can cigar, lie on the beach. I have a lot of people work for me. I thought that would. Now the company is getting bigger. My problem is getting bigger. I've gotten much busier. But this is our life. One day, when you pick up the job as an entrepreneur, this is your life. You pick up. Don't complain. Where is the opportunity? The opportunity always lies in the place where people complain. If you solve the complaint, you got a problem. You got an opportunity. This is what I believe. And also, as an entrepreneur, I think most of the projects I heard there is about platform. You guys are building a platform. The essence of building a platform? A lot of people in China want to build up a platform. The difference between build a company and build up a platform is a platform is to enable others, make other people happy. A company is to make yourself happy. This is the difference between 20th century and 21st century. If you're 21st century, if you want to be successful, making sure your employees are successful, making sure your customers are successful because you're using your services. If you can make your customers successful, your employees successful, your platform will be successful. This is the essence. And remember that. Empower others. You are empowering yourself, and you are empowering your platform. Thank you. So any questions you have?
Yes, thank you very much. The question picker is Mikulcha. You have a question about leadership.
So there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the room today, and I'm one as well. We discussed our business a little bit earlier. One of the struggles that a lot of our entrepreneurs are finding is how to become leaders. And I truly believe there's a big distinguishing factor between entrepreneurs and good leaders. So my question is, are there any leadership principles that have contributed to your success as a leader, not as an entrepreneur?
Leader does not have a fixed style, right? Some leaders good at speaking, some leaders never speak by actions. Leadership doesn't have a style. Everybody can be a leader. A good leader should have a vision. The vision is that, vision not necessarily good, because when I work in the company, when everybody was disappointed, I have to tell them, I have to see before the other people see the opportunity. When everybody excited, I have to see the disaster. Especially as a CEO of like me in the Alibaba group, my job is to see the problems of the future. So, and kill the problems before the disaster comes. So a leader must have a vision. A leader should inspire a team. A leader should discipline a team. I learned my management skill one day. I was talking to the famous general of the United States. He was talking to a group of people, say, how do you discipline your lieutenant? He's a general. The guy who lead the first Iraq war. What's his name?
Pauline Cole.
Yeah, Pauline Cole.
Yes.
He said, you as a leader, you have to get up early before the lieutenant. You have to sleep before the lieutenant, late before after the lieutenant. You have to eat before after the lieutenant to eat. But if you have a problem with the lieutenant, what are you going to do? Fix him, remove him, and fire him. Leadership is not only about inspiring. Leadership is those people who join your company. You have to create value for him. You have to making sure in 3 years he will be different. Not because his job is different, because if the people are not different, the products will never be different. I told many people when they joined Alibaba, I say, guys, I don't know fortunate or unfortunate in joining Alibaba. we work much longer than the others, much harder. We had more problems than most of the companies. If you can survive in Alibaba, you can survive at any company in the world because life is tough. We never promise you will be rich, you will be successful, you will promoted. But we will promise you will be a problem, you have a wrong, you will make a mistake, you have a terrible boss. We all promised. So you set the expectation, but have a good vision. So that is the way we manage the company. And I think when you hire good people, the good people believe the vision they will get. So when I visiting the company, whether it's a good CEO or not, I do not listen to the CEO. I listen to his people. If the people believe the vision, or the people believe this guy. If the people believe the vision, if the people believe this guy, this company has hope. A good entrepreneur can always tell good stories. I don't need to listen to story from you guys. I can tell your people, right? If your people, any young people in your company, he can tell me the vision. He can tell me what they're doing. That is a good company. That's leadership. Leadership is making sure everybody, when they sleep, when they drink, when they talk, when they go to the toilet, they talk your vision. And they believe it.
Great. Those people who work for me, you hear what has just been said. I hope you believe in me. So I'm going to take one question.
You made the first $10,000 in the first month. You're happy because you've never seen that much money. But you wonder, when do you start to start pay, when do you know it's the right time to start paying yourself? Because most entrepreneurs that have realized that either they get a grant or funding, or they make a little money they're making, just like, you know what, I want to buy a Range Rover. They start buying too many things they don't need. But when is the right time for you to know that you can start paying yourself?
Pay myself?
Yes.
Good question. A lot of startups complain that they never get the money from banks, never get the money from the other venture capitalists. Well, rejected by banks, rejected by your venture capital is very normal. You got the money from these guys, not normal. Why people want to help you? Right? There's no reason people help you. You get help because you earn the credit. You earn the reputation. So borrow money from your friends, families. That's the first step. That's everybody. If you cannot even borrow money from your friends and relatives, you guys have a problem. Nobody trusts you, right? So I heard you borrow through $2,000, $1,000. That's good. That means you have this trust from those people that around you. At least you got somebody. So that's called the seeding money. Seeding money means you have to grow. The seed is not the money. That money is what? That money is the trust of the seed. You have to use your money very carefully. And then spend the money. I tell you the true story that what I did. 18 founders. I told 18 people the day when we have the first meeting. I say, guys, now put all your money on the table. Nobody is allowed to borrow money from your parents. I don't want to spend their pension. Nobody is allowed to borrow money from friends. That's your saving. No matter how much money you have, put on the table. Keep 10 months job, living expense in your pocket. Because 10 months later, if we cannot raise money or make money, we all go together looking for jobs. And you have to live 5 minutes driving or walking distance from my apartment. So I call you, you come. And people say, we don't go home, we sleep there. And then we gathered $50,000. We thought we can last for 10 months, but we only lasted 3 months. Even if we spend every cent very carefully. Because remember, good days always come very late. tough days always come early. No matter how safe, the money is spent very quickly. So we did not have a pay for those first 8 months, even if when we raised the money from venture capitalists, $5 million, our first round, we did not have pay. And then we started to pay 500 RMB, which is like $60 a month. $60. My CFO, today he's vice chairman of the company, his pay at that time like $300,000 US pay, annual pay. He joined me and I say, I cannot pay you money. He said, okay, I cannot even pay you 500 RMB for 1 month. He said, okay. So we all agreed for the first year we don't have a pay. When we start to have the pay, we pay the employee first. When we have a raise money, when we have certain money that we think we can survive for 2 years, I told the team, all right, let's start to pay. But we can never compare our pay with the other company. People say, Jack, Microsoft paid us that much, that you only pay us that much. I said, please go to Microsoft. Right? For us, we give options. We give shares. My share in the company early days was close to 60%. Today, my share is only 7%. I give all my shares to the people because my investor did not believe. One of my key investors, he did not believe in giving shares to the colleagues. He said, no, Jack, don't give shares to the colleague, to the employees. I say, I have to say, if you want to give, you give. I don't give. I say, I give. Even if I give my shares, today, I think I don't know how many, what is my stock price yesterday? $150 something. We start from 1 cent. From the first day 1 cent to today, we divided a lot, probably like $500, $800. When I give the 1 cent to many employees, those people love the 1 cent. They are good colleagues. They say, I'm okay with 500 RMB, $50 a month. I love the share options. I want the shares. Those people want the dollars. They don't want options. They are not your people. So I give a lot of shares to people. I remember one day when we want to dissolve USA office in Silicon Valley because we made a mistake, have an office in America. I said, guys, either you bring $2,000 US back or 1 cent for each shares. Everybody say, give me $2,000. Nobody wants Alibaba shares. I know we hide the wrong people. When we're profitable, or close to profitable, we start to give share. If you are profitable without even paying your employees properly, you are not profitable at all. A real business, you should never rely on your colleagues have a tiny. So early days for Alibaba, our pay in our city is below average, but our option is good. And then when we're profitable, we say we should be better, a little bit better than the average pay of our city. Because we don't want, today, even us today, I think Alibaba is the richest company in our city. We can pay them very good, but we still we don't want to unbalance the city. We don't want to get every company to hire good people join us. This is the ecosystem. So we encourage our colleagues when they're 5 years old, or when they stay in the 5 years or 10 years, we encourage them to join the other company, even the competitors. Because in this way, that you are getting new fresh into. And those people for 5 years, 10 years, because they are so tight, we're working so hard, that for 5 years in Alibaba is like 15 years in any other company. So we have to let them go. Pay. Think about, before you break even, you have to think for your employees, because they have wife, they have kids, they have family to raise. You can be crazy, your people can be crazy, but you as the founder and CEO, you have to care your colleagues. Only when you care for the colleagues, your colleagues will care for your customers. That's what we believe.
Wow, I guess that deserves a standing ovation, guys.
Thank you so much, and all the best.
Yeah.
I think you guys have a great dreams, and keep on doing that. And Alibaba will do anything we can to enable you guys.
So we have gone ahead and we've made you parents of 2 baby elephants. We adopted 2 baby elephants because a lot of these people here are like small baby elephants, small businesses that want to grow to big giant businesses like Alibaba. So the significance of the gift we're about to give is the fact that all your small businesses can become big giant elephants, which are giant and gentle. You pay attention to your customers, you pay attention to your employees, and then you pay attention to your shareholders. And so I will ask Dr. Kitui to come, and you have a baby elephant that you can take care of for a year, Baby Mbegu.
Baby Mbegu.
You will receive emails from us and from the David Shedrick Foundation about the growth of the baby elephant as much as you'll hear the news from this country. Jack, thank you very much. On behalf of this ecosystem, you have a Baby Mteto.
Oh, Baby Tattoo.
Baby Mteto. That's your baby elephant for the next 1 year. You'll receive email updates through Jason or yourself, and you'll get to know how the baby elephant is doing. It's at David Shedrick Foundation. If you ever decide to come into the country, just go there, say, I want to see my baby, and you'll be shown what your elephant
That's
did.
great.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
This is Alibaba DAO. We call it small is beautiful.
Yes.
Small is powerful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for you supporting all these entrepreneurs. There are a lot of things I can learn from you, and
Thank
we
you.
can do together.
Thank you very much. I'm honored. I received this on your behalf, guys. Small and beautiful. So we're going to do a quick selfie.
Okay.
We are selfie people. We are a selfie generation.
Yeah. That's how I'm gonna do.